Hi team, welcome to my channel. So today what we are going to do is we are going to compare OpenAI with one of the open source model called WizardCoder. And what we are going to see is we are going to give it some pretty much rudimentary tasks. For example, translating from one language to another, translating SQL from one database to another, and giving some instruction for acting like a coding assistant. And we will see how the OpenAI performs compared to WizardCoder. Now, WizardCoder as such is fairly open source as well as fairly, I would say, lighter model. So it's only having 13 billion parameters. And that's what we are going to see that how does it perform. If you are interested, here are some of the benchmark which the Wizard LM team have given for WizardCoder. So as you can see here, WizardCoder as such perform pretty much comparable to GPT-4 and GPT 3.5 for all the coding related tasks. And surprisingly, it is pretty much good compared to Claude, Bard, and the new open source King Falcon 40B Instruct. So compared to all of them, this Wizard Coder as such is pretty much better. Again, fair warning, this is pretty much rudimentary task that we are going to give to both of them. So again, this may not be so much complex, but definitely the problem statement or the smaller tasks that we are giving to both of them for comparison will be definitely pragmatical. So let's see. So yeah, team, let me walk through the code. So this is a Google Colab code. So first of all, what we are doing is we are installing some libraries, for example, OpenAI LangChain to call OpenAI models. What I have done is I have stored all my configuration in a file called myconfig.json. So all the tokens that are required, for example, for OpenAI or for Hugging Face, all of those are here. You can use environment variables also to store these things. Now what I'm doing is here now is I'm setting an environment variable for OpenAI API key. This I am going to do because I'm going to use something called LangChain, and LangChain is a pretty much easy wrapper around OpenAI GPT calls. So basically that will definitely ease my work. So that's what I'm going to do. So with LangChain, what I'm doing is I'm importing some libraries, or I would say some modules that I will be using later. I am instantiating new model called GPT 3.5 Turbo 0613. So this is nothing but GPT 3.5's or Chat GPT's latest version, which is there recently released. Now I am using Chat GPT, here, but we can also use GPT-4 for this task. But yeah, I'm using GPT-3 3.5 for now. Now we talked about three tasks that we wanted to test, and again these are very rudimentary tasks. So basically, there could be some task which could be much more complicated, and there is where we will get to know the real power of language models. But what we are doing is we are doing a simple sort of test, how does the Wizard LM or WizardCoder as such performs compared to OpenAI. So the first task that I'm going to do is pretty simple. Now it's nothing but converting a program from Java to Python. So it's basically a translation task. What we are saying is translate from Java to Python by seeing context. And this, if you are not aware of LangChain as such, is one of the format of creating prompt. So basically, what you do is you give some instruction, you give the context, and context can come later. So basically, when this will run, this whole Java code will be injected in this prompt. And what happens is whole of this thing is thrown to ChatGPT. So this is how we run it. So basically what you're doing is you're asking it to translate this specific Java code to Python, and that's what it is going to do. So here is the answer. Not going to run it because again I already have run it. So this is the answer which it gives. So basically, if you see this is definitely a Java program. it converted into Python, and this Python program is talking about finding the prime number. So given an input, do we know whether it's a prime number or not? For that, there's a simple program written, and it's pretty standard. So yeah, ChatGPT performed a pretty much good job in translating from Java to Python. Now the second task that what I'm going to do is, if you have worked in business scenario where you have different data warehouses or different databases in an organization, most of the time they are heterogeneous. So what happens is sometimes you have MySQL, for example, other times you have PostgreSQL. So it's always beneficial to learn about some of the functions which are not there in one database, but they are available in another one, and they do the same task. For example, converting to let's say some other data type, casting to let's say character and all. So it might happen that in one of the databases the same function could be spelled differently. So that's the case what we are going to see. So basically what we are going to do is we are saying it that we have a MySQL query. Can you convert it to PostgreSQL? And this is what we are giving it as a query. We are giving it date format, date from table name. So this is MySQL as such, and we wanted to convert it into PostgreSQL. The answer that it gave is, select to char date YYMMDD from table name. So this is the way it is going to convert. Now, this seems to be, acceptable answer to me because to char definitely is, one of the functions which can convert it. I am not sure if the date which will come, the output which will come will be perfect because again it depends on what kind of format date had, but pretty much it did give a good acceptable answer. The third task that we want to give to ChatGPT is write a Python program by seeing context. And what we are trying to do is we are trying to use this as a coding assistant. So for example, let's say we are working on pandas data frame, and what happens is we do have a special query. Now definitely there are very good open source and commercial tools available for that, but yeah, let's see how does it perform. So basically what question we are asking is, given a pandas data frame and two keys, that is two columns, can you give how I'm going to sort it out so that one of the key will be in ascending order and second will be in descending order. And this is a valid, very valid use case. It's always used, one time or another. Now here is the answer which ChatGPT gave me. So if you see it, first of all, it created some dummy structures, then it created pandas data frame, and then it showed the answer as such. How do you do, sorting with one in ascending order and another in descending order? And this is pretty much acceptable answer to me. So that's where, ChatGPT gave us three answers for three different mini tasks. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to also check it with respect to, Wizard LM's WizardCoder. So basically, again, to repeat as such, we see that, Wizard code performs pretty much very close to GPT 3.5 or ChatGPT, compared to other things like, Claude or Bard and so on. Even Falcon 40 Beanstalk, the new uh, king of the LLMs, doesn't perform better than WizardCoder. So it's very close to GPT 3.5. So let's see how does it perform when I give the same task to it. Now, what we are doing is we are installing some libraries, for example, transformers, xformers, enops. All these requirements are, useful because for the new models that are coming into Hugging Face, they require all of these things. Definitely, we'll be using bits and bytes, and the reason for using bits and bytes is maybe going forward we may not use it complete, model, but we may be able to use it like in 8 bits or 4 bits and so on. So let's install bits and bytes also. So that's what I have done. Then what I've done is I have logged in into Hugging Face repo as such, and again all those credentials I have not given here for security, but yeah, you can, whenever you put it into login, you need to provide your token here. So that's what we have done. Here is where we are loading our code. So WizardCoder 15 billion is what we are going to upload or instantiate. So this is a standard boilerplate code. So what we are doing is we are having tokenizer as well as, model instantiated. And again, we are loading in 8-bit. This is pretty standard code, instantiating tokenizer model with some configurations. That's what we are doing. Again, we can go in another path. We can load it into 4 bits also. All sort of things we can do. Yeah, going at the bottom again. So once you have all the models and tokenizer loaded, what we need to do is we need to provide this wizard coder a prompt and then get the output. So again, this is standard boilerplate if you have worked with, the language models as such. So basically what we are doing here is we are defining some variables, for example, temperature, top P, top K, number of beans, max new tokens and all. And what we are doing is we are tokenizing it. When we are tokenizing it, post that we are, again, putting some configurations here. And then once it happens, what we do is we generate output and we convert it into string. And when we convert it into string, what will happen is we'll pass it a prompt. It will give us some output. Then we are going to see the output for these three tasks. What the output is it comparable to ChatGPT or not? So here is how I have done it here. Now again, one point to note is I could have used LangChain also here, which is pretty much desirable, or I should have done it, but I have not done here. So what we can do is we can use LangChain definitely, but for brevity, what I have done is I have just reformatted the whole task into this prompt standard. So here I'm asking, some instruction, and the first instruction is definitely write a response that convert. So basically, it's a translation task from Java program to Python. And again, this is the same thing which we gave last time to ChatGPT. And the answer that I got from it, and again, I'm not going to these all boilerplate codes. This is pretty standard code. And again, when we see the documentation, we will come to know what kind of things the model expects, to work out. And what are the different kind of prompts you can give. For example, here they have shown it that when you are using WizardCoder, you'll need to give an instruction like this, then you get a response and so on. And it's pretty standard across all the models. So that's what I have done. So I have got the response. And if you see, the response is this Java code was converted into this Python code. This is perfectly fine. I would say this exactly is matching with ChatGPT. And one of the things which WizardCoder also did is it actually explained it also, like, what we are trying to achieve here. For example, it said, what is defined function, what it is taking, it's taking an integer, and, it is checking divisibility by any number in that range. So I think for this specific task, it performed pretty good. Again, this is something which we didn't ask, it gave extra, but it is always welcome. So this is for the translation task. Now, second task was again, translation of MySQL queries to PostgreSQL queries. So this is how the instruction has been formed, translate from MySQL to PostgreSQL by seeing instruction below. And this is the thing which was in MySQL, and it's supposed to convert it to PostgreSQL. So it convert it. I think it gave the same answer, which is select date format, date, YOMD by table name, and so on. So basically, it thought that MySQL code date format can be converted into PostgreSQL by using the same function called date format. But if you run this date format, you will come to know that PostgreSQL doesn't have same function as MySQL. So there is nothing called date format. So definitely this answer is helpful, but it is wrong uh, because this function doesn't exist. So yeah, for this MySQL to PostgreSQL conversion task, definitely WizardCoder failed. So let me give you the third example. Now, third example was using pandas and finding out how do we sort using two keys, one in ascending order and second in descending order. So I gave it a prompt, then I saw the response. So what is the response? Again, it says, pandas SPD, ls bob, and so on. We have sort values true, false, name, age, and so on. So if you see, the answer which ChatGPT gave, it's the exactly same answer. So that is the case. So again, some of the things could be changed, but I won't say exact the answer, but it's pretty much similar. So maybe the source where both of them are trained is same. So I think Wizard code is uh, itself trained on something called evol instruct, which again uses ChatGPT. So definitely the answer is pretty much same. Now, one good thing is it also, first of all, it gave the right answer, but it also tries to, explain what's happening here. So that is pretty much, good thing it did. So yeah, so this is the evaluation of how, WizardCoder as such performed compared to ChatGPT 3.5. So again, out of three tasks, I think in one of the tasks it failed, which is, MySQL to PostgreSQL conversion. Again, it did a very decent job of trying to explain it. So at least I am happy. It may not be 100% replacement of, the commercial models, but given its size of only 13 billion parameters, it did pretty good job. So yeah, that's it for today. Thanks for watching. Let's see you next time. Thank you so much. Bye bye.